All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a much more relaxed episode of the Football is King podcast than the episode that came out yesterday. If you're looking for a fun episode, though, let me tell you, yeah, it rearranged itself. It's fine.
No, what I was gonna say, we all wore the same clothes yesterday. That's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy. That's just what. I have this trend of when I am at home, I like to put the same clothes.
clothes.
Well, sorry,
Yeah, me too.
technically I'm not because I'm only at home from like 6 to 10 p.m. Those clothes aren't dirty, so let me wear them again. Although I'm not at home, I am at my home away from home. For those who are tuning in who did not tune in yesterday, and Jonathan is in his new home with the new setup he's got going on there.
King George right here. Here he is, Uncle George.
But yeah, for those of you who did not tune in to our college football playoff reaction episode, it was good. It was a fun one. There was we went through everything. We had some fun conspiracies. We had some light-hearted debates. And we talked about how everyone else is stupid and we were right.
That's true.
That's a fact.
We do that every week, though.
Yeah, but a little bit more than normal. So yeah, today we are also going to tell you how everyone else is stupid and we are right. But on professional football this time. So we'll start off with our headline games. And I think that there was a theme this weekend, and that was there's a lot of bad football teams out there.
My gosh. And if they put 4 bad football teams on prime time, I'm going to gouge my eyeballs out.
The Patriots are so bad that they got the Chiefs off of prime time, so good for them.
But they're on prime this week.
Yeah, a game. Well, it's Thursday night though. No one wants to watch Thursday night football, so
How does Al Michaels continue to do this this job?
Because he just travels and eats at these like Michelin star restaurants, which is why he does his job.
No veggies though.
Yeah, no veggies.
Never had a vegetable in his life.
All right.
I aspire to be that man. I want to be that guy.
We will start off with our first game, which actually was a very, very good game against teams that people are, in my opinion, at least one of the teams they are not talking about enough. The Colts beat the Titans at home, becoming the first team to beat the Titans in Tennessee this year. Game goes into overtime. Gardner Minshew keeps the Minshew mania going. And once again, the Colts are currently seeded as a playoff team. They are 1 game behind Jacksonville for winning the AFC South, and no one is talking about them.
That's my dude is underrated. Just play Minshew.
I'm happy. Got the monkey off his back. He can win a football game.
He can win a football game.
No one would have guessed this when the year started. No,
nope.
I did. I did. Go back. First episode this season, I said Gardner Minshew is going to be the starter, and he should be.
For very different reasons, though.
Gardner Minshew.
You thought that Anthony Richardson was going to get benched, not injured.
Let's go,
Gardner! To be fair, I still don't think that they're that good of a team, but they're winning the games they're supposed to win, and that's all you can ask.
Yeah, and then the Eagles go get Shaq Leonard.
No, is he good anymore? We don't know.
He's old.
I mean, I don't know, but
fair.
golly, rich get richer. It seems like
The Colts don't.
I mean, he hasn't been the same since he renamed himself Shaq.
It does kind of suck for the Colts though, because you lose your starting quarterback who's supposed to be going to be like your franchise guy, and you're like, oh heck yeah, we're going to get a top draft pick. Nope.
Well, to be fair, though, they were playing well with their top guy as well. So you're not looking at this saying, we should keep Gardner Minshew instead of Anthony Richardson. You're looking at this as we've got a really good team. Or we've got a pretty decent team. We've got a decent enough backup that if our guy that is injury prone gets hurt, that really nothing drops off. And we just need
There's no silver lining to the injury, though, really, besides your decent team.
But in my opinion, this year, you're looking at if you're the Colts, I don't need to fix the offense. I need to fix my defense. So I'm going into the draft next year looking all defense. Because, I mean, I had my doubts about Michael Pittman as a receiver. He's really growing into the league. Obviously, if you can keep Jonathan Taylor, he's pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. Did he sign an extension?
I don't remember. I don't know. That whole thing was here. I think he did, though, right? Didn't he sign an extension?
Yeah, I thought
He did. And then they shopped him. He signed his extension, and then they
And
said,
Yeah.
on the extension,
I don't know.
I don't think
Um,
the heck out of me. So
but the Colts are currently the team that's holding the Bills out of the playoffs. So let's go Colts, baby.
yeah, I think ultimately they probably missed the playoffs, but
Probably. They might win their division though with Trevor Lawrence with his
true.
high ankle sprain.
because that's probably you're probably looking at 3 to 4 weeks at the very least.
Well, it depends. Patrick Mahomes played the next week, so
That's
we'll
true.
see how much of a man Trevor Lawrence. No, that's a terrible thing.
Oh.
That they could be totally different from each other. I apologize, Trevor Lawrence.
And he looked like he knew he was pretty injured.
Yeah. All right. While we're talking about it, can we talk about the fact that Jacksonville couldn't get the man a cart?
Yeah,
They made him hop all the way to the locker room.
he had 2 dudes holding him up. I'm like, this is the NFL. There's plenty of carts around here.
Not
can
only
pay-
that, like he's your like generational quarterback, and you're like, nah, man, let's f that ankle up
Make
even
him
more.
hop. Make him hop.
And it's the state of retired golfing. Like you ain't got a golf cart somewhere, and you can pay for Jackson DeVille to jump off the top of the stadium in a rope swing, and you can't have like come on.
Also, you know that Mr. Khan's got the money.
I hate that guy. I hate that mustache. Maybe it's because I can't grow a mustache like him, but
He's a good villain. I mean, if you're gonna have that mustache, you're a good villain. Always trying to take Jacksonville to London or Frankfurt or whatever. I like it. It's a good villain mustache.
I'll be threatening to make a bunch of American football players play
Yeah.
overseas. That is
Yeah.
a villain.
All right, let's go to game number 2. The Chargers beat the ever-living crap out of the Patriots 6-0.
I gotta admit, I didn't watch this game. I did bet on this game at the Chargers minus 5.5. I didn't even feel good about winning that one.
No, that
That
I
was,
also bet this game, and it was the under, and I never sweat ever. It was the easiest under of my life.
Does Staley know he's a sitting duck, or does he think his job is?
Or does Staley look at this and say, "Hey, everyone complains about my defense. I shut a team out. 0
Yeah,
points."
He might be the most unself-aware human the world has ever seen. He might.
was the offense just terrible?
It was just terrible. I mean, the Patriots have a good defense, but the offense was just bad.
I wasn't going to waste my time watching that football game.
I hate slandering a person that I know, one of his teachers from high school or whatever, maybe middle school, I don't know when, but Quentin Johnson he's a bust. He's a bust.
He's terrible. I saw that one play on the sideline.
He can't catch. He catches weird.
Yeah.
He like catches by clapping, which is like what you would think they teach you that in, like Pop Warner. Like that's not how you catch a football. And he's in the NFL and he's still catching, like doing this, trying to just hope and pray that he times it right.
To be fair, when you see like a guy that catches like that, you're like, you are the most unathletic human on the planet.
Yeah, but then you watch him run that fast, and you're like, just kidding. That's pretty athletic.
Can't catch, but if you just watch a guy try to catch and they catch like that, you're like, oh yeah, this dude, he don't got it.
No, you can't be slap catching.
I saw 2 amazing things today on the internet, which is why I love the internet. One was a graphic that showed every single game that has to happen so that the Patriots make the playoffs, because apparently they can still make the playoffs.
Oh,
and I was just like, that's lovely that someone took the time or at least let a computer run that simulation. And then also I saw a graphic with the same thing of all of the games that have to happen so that they get the number 1 pick. And it's like, that's why the internet is so great, because you just got people doing the exact opposite of each other at all times, and it's amazing.
What does Robert Kraft do this with Bill Belichick? Do you think they have
first probably Robert goes and gets a massage to clear his head.
Oh no, I mean him and Deshaun gonna figure it out.
And then after that, I mean, you definitely keep Bill Belichick around. You have one of the top defenses in the league. You're definitely going to get probably an improvement at quarterback under Mac Jones. And not only that, you have a coach that even if you suck, he knows how to tank. He just lost 3 consecutive games in a row that they didn't give up more than 10 points.
Yeah, when I heard that today, I was dumbfounded because I guess I didn't realize it, but I was like, this dude is winning the tank. I mean,
Anyone that's saying fire Bill Belichick, his defense has not given up more than 10 points 3 games in a row.
yeah,
Like,
and you're
all
still
he's gotta-
losing. You're
all
still
he
losing.
needs is a quarterback. If he gets a quarterback, like, watch out, world.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say though: whenever you watch the Patriots game and you see old Jonathan and Robert sitting up in the booth, they look like the 2 most disgusting human beings on the planet.
I hate his shirt with its blue with the white collar and the red. I hate it. It looks so bad. I don't know what it is, but I hate that shirt.
He wants to be a paisano.
He is a paisano.
I was like, I think he just wants to be from the 50s.
Is Kraft a paisano?
Yeah, that was an abomination of a football game.
Yeah, so let's move on from that. Speaking of teams that suck, the Eagles suck, and the Niners beat the crap out of them this week.
Oh my gosh.
Not only did they beat the crap out of them, what was the final score to that game? Like 42?
40-something to 14?
Yeah.
17 or something.
I got one thing to
They
say
had
about
negative
that
6
game.
yards in the first quarter, and they still put up 42 points.
42-19.
There you go.
One thing to say about that game.
Okay.
Philly having the head of security get thrown out, be a big fat Italian man, is fucking beautiful. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, but
none of y'all answered my text. None of y'all responded to my text when I said the NFL just needs a lot more Italians in it. In all organizations, we're having the most Italian season ever, and you guys just aren't appreciating it.
Well, and he got a standing ovation on his way out. That's the most
Bro.
Philly thing ever.
He did not move. He did not move when that guy slid across his face. He didn't
Because
punch
he's
him.
not pointing or talking at him. He's talking to Devontae Smith behind him and pointing at Devontae Smith, and he brushes his cheek.
You look like a smush.
He's still there. He got kicked out.
Yeah, and he should have got kicked out. He pushed a player.
He was breaking it up.
He started it.
Doing on the field.
He was breaking it up.
He started the altercation.
What are they having security for on the field? I don't get that.
Also,
Dude,
I am very
don't slander Big Dom, dude.
I'm going to be the bad guy of this podcast. Big Dom should not be on the sideline again for the rest of the season because because of the precedent that they set this year of that kid that they fired for giving Tyreek Hill his phone. This is way more controversial than that.
Oh my gosh.
So the NFL's already fired a guy because he gave his phone to Tyreek Hill to do a backflip touchdown celebration. He should not be allowed on the field if that guy can't have a job.
Listen,
No,
Big Dom is just out here doing God's work.
They suspended him for the year without pay.
They took his credentials, which is you're fired, but we're too pansy to fire you.
They said it might be a lifetime ban.
Yeah. It would be better if the NFL just straight up said you're fired, but they just said, well, we'll see what we're gonna do, like, which is horseshit. Because even like Tyreek is like, look, I took his phone, like, and
good for Tyreek for paying his wages for the year. Good for that. I will say we were robbed of an all-time fight with the fact that it was there was only the one 49er player over there. It was only Dre Greenlaw. If there was a bunch of them over there, that would have blown. If Trent Williams was over there, Trent Williams would have killed Big Dom.
He's a dog, bro. A dog.
Trent Williams plays football not because he's big or athletic or because he has good skill at it. He's out there to try to legally murder somebody. That's why he wants to play football.
He'd be a boss in prison if he didn't play football.
And the Niners, okay, let's talk about actual football things. The Niners could have ran the ball to the left side of that offensive line on every play, and they would have scored an infinite amount of points. George Kittle and Trent Williams just destroyed the entire Eagles defensive line by themselves. It was amazing to watch.
Yeah, I was sitting there the whole time thinking, man, next week is going to come along with my Cowboys playing them Eagles, and I hope they're watching this film right now.
Yeah. Also, we said it at the beginning of the year, and we've said it the whole year. The Eagles secondary is absolute trash, and
Trash.
so I think the Cowboys win that game.
The secondary is trash.
Their Cowboys should win this game this weekend. If they do not, this is your proof for the millionth time of why the Cowboys are never going to win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. And I think Dak Prescott is playing great football right now. But if he can't beat this version of the Eagles, there's a
He's
problem.
toast. Here, I was listening to a different podcast one like yesterday, and it was an Eagles fan, and he kept being like, the Eagles were dominating at the beginning of the game, and I'm like, that makes it even more embarrassing. They beat you 42-19.
Yeah, it's
They
bad.
dominated the first 2 drives, and that was it.
Also, this is the 5th game in a row that the Eagles haven't had the lead at halftime, and that's a bad formula for the Eagles. Now, they got very lucky in a bunch of those other games that we have covered on other podcasts or other episodes of our podcast, of just like the Eagles are playing right now a formula that is not going to be successful in the playoffs, and they are, dare I say it, this year's Minnesota Vikings.
Oh.
They are this year's Minnesota Vikings. They're winning all these close one-score games with just pure luck.
They're
don't
more
fully
worried
disagree.
about making Christmas albums than they are winning football games. That's the
only
problem.
one player, and he's doing it for great charity.
No, that's too many of them. There's
What's that big old dude that had a pretty good voice?
Jordan Davis,
Was Jordan Davis?
Mailata,
Oh, Mailata has
Yeah, Jordan Mailata.
Jordan Davis, Mailata, Kelsey, Lane Johnson. They're all
Yeah, that's
too
fine
worried
that they were guest stars on Jason Kelsey's
Album.
about-
Christmas
but
album.
still, hey, distractions are distractions. They're too worried about making Christmas albums.
I don't disagree with the Vikings take, but I think they're better than the Vikings were last year.
Oh, for sure. They are a much better team than the Vikings are last year. However,
Their record is not indicative of.
be prepared, salty Eagle fans, and please get at us in the comments. I love talking to Eagles fans on the internet. They are just the most hateful, irrational people, and it's just fun. It's fun as long as they don't actually
die tomorrow.
as long as they don't actually show up at my house and try to kill me, then we're good. If
Only-
they wish me death on the internet, that's fine.
Only an Eagles fan could possibly be in a game they lost 42-19. Could walk away from that game being like, well, we dominated the first 2 drives.
Or, oh, well, Jalen Hurts is still the MVP. Have you watched Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy play football? Because I'll take Brock Purdy any day of the week.
Yeah. Can we stop? Lombardi is the perfect example of this, Austin. We know this. Can we stop grading him on where he was drafted and just grade him on what he is?
Okay, sure. That's fine. Brock Purdy is not the MVP. He's not even the MVP of his football team. Deebo Samuel is.
I would agree with that, but Brock Purdy should not be graded as irrelevant. He's a good football player.
Every quarterback with Kyle Shanahan is always going to be compared to. It's just going to be Kyle Shanahan, because the NFL or not the NFL, the media has had Kyle Shanahan's Johnson down their throats for his entire career.
Oh, well, how many times do we see his daddy in the stands?
Dude, old Mike looks old. Old Mike looks. He looks like Tim Allen in the Santa Claus, where his hair just turns white overnight. So just like his hair, I was like, whoa, I have never seen that shade of white on a human being.
He looks rough.
He does look rough. But you know what?
He does look like he can still call a football game, though.
That's true. Probably better than Frank Reich. So
Frank Reich's somewhere right now.
He's never getting a head coaching job ever again, is he?
Oh, don't worry. He's going to be the Saints coach in a couple years.
I will transfer portal.
Let's keep it moving. The Raiders had a bye week, so there's no point in talking about the Raiders.
Raiders.
Which is why Jonathan has not participated in this part of the podcast for the entire episode so far. He's in his other world.
The Saints, good football team.
They're not a good football team. All right, let's talk about the Saints first. So the Lions obviously got off to a huge 21-0 lead in like 6 minutes of game time. And Saints come back strong. But my real thing is Derek Carr now has a concussion for the second time in 4 weeks.
He gone.
I think
He's gone, obviously. So it's Taysom Hill time, right? We're at don't have
you
to pay
gotta
him.
play
Let's play him
Taysom
every
Hill.
play.
I texted y'all in Austin of all people, texted me. I'm more negative than him, which might be true.
Dude, did you see yourself this weekend? I don't think you said a positive thing one time about any topic we were talking about.
No, but I mean, our offensive coordinator is absolute garbage.
Y'all had like 29 points in the third quarter.
I know.
Now, but
It was 21-0, and I looked up all of a sudden, and they were down by like 3 points. And I was
yeah, but still,
Shane's over here trashing their their offensive coordinator, and they've scored almost 30 points.
Look,
and I'm like, dude, that's pretty good.
hey, on 3rd and 3, who runs a reverse? It's 3rd and 3. You don't run a reverse. I mean, come on.
there has been a conundrum in the NFL where the head coaches seem to think that you have to run a trick play.
That Andy Reid started that, so I apologize to the rest of the NFL.
Yeah,
that is 100%
I
Andy
blame
Reid's fault.
Austin for that.
Don't blame me. Blame the Walrus.
I blame anyone who thinks they're Andy flipping Reid. And then my biggest thing is, look, I've been the biggest supporter of it. Johnny is gonna disagree with this. You can't play Taysom Hill up to a certain point.
Play Taysom.
We are past the 70% snap mark. Play Taysom Hill. Let him play quarterback.
Go all in on Taysom Hill.
I'm happy you finally. I'm happy you finally figured it out.
I've always thought you play Taysom Hill, but I don't want to play Taysom Hill and pay him $40 million. We're past the point of paying him $40 million.
Yeah, there's no way he's gonna do 70% of the snaps or whatever the number is at this point.
Let him play quarterback. Let him
and
play.
If he does hit 70% of the snaps, you're winning the Super Bowl. So it'd be worth it.
Yeah, god darn. Yeah.
You're definitely not winning the Super Bowl, but
no, if he plays 70% of the snaps, you are though. So screw it. If he wins the Super
you're not.
Bowl,
The guy can't throw well enough for that. Come on now, quit. You're just joking around at this point in time.
no, but
Taysom Hill is not a quarterback that can win the Super Bowl.
No,
I
not. But if he's able to reach the 70% mark.
Yeah, that's what Blake's saying. Like,
yeah, but do they keep the percentages going when you go to the playoffs, or are they going to just? Is it just the regular season?
I have no flipping clue. But if the 70% mark meets winning the Super Bowl, by golly, Taysom is my guy.
Just go all in, lean into it. Just go all in on Taysom.
That or just give me just nothing but Jameis. Give me full on. Jameis is one of his first throws is a tipped pass that ends up going to Olave that should have been a pick.
Yes.
I was just like, oh, I've missed this. This is so great.
Who was the commentator where he hates Jameis? I want to say I don't know who it was, but he's like, this is the Jameis experience. I mean, I heard that 50 times in 2 quarters. It seems like it was amazing, but it, it's Jameis. That's Jameis, baby.
Yeah, it's good times.
He taps Derek Carr on the shoulder. He tells him it's gonna be okay. He's dancing in front of him.
Hey, he almost got to eat that W. He was close.
Oh, I love Jameis. I think he's a terrible quarterback, but I love what he's about. I love it.
All right, let's talk about the other team from the division who took a firm grip on their division with a solid 13-8 victory. I haven't paid attention. Does Artie Smith have the stupid mustache right now, or is it shaved?
Yes, he's got the mustache.
It's back. The mustache is back. All right, good for Artie.
He says it raises the testosterone level.
You want to know how bad the Falcons are? The Jets got rid of Tim Boyle because they couldn't beat the Falcons. They're like, you know what? If we can't beat the Falcons, Tim Boyle's not good enough. Let's go to Brett Rippon. Which, honestly, do all of these quarterbacks that are just like really bad in the NFL, but are still probably the 42nd best quarterback in all of the world have the best job in like history? Brett Rippon is awful, and everyone knows that you can't win a game with Brett Rippon. However, he keeps getting jobs.
Colt McCoy.
At this point,
no. Colt, do not slander Colt McCoy. Now, maybe Colt McCoy now that he's almost 40, but Colt McCoy back in the day is a way better quarterback than Brett Rippon.
Brett Rippon must, like, when he gets a call to go to the team, he must just tell his wife, like, yeah, I'll be back in about 5 weeks. I'll go.
Yeah, Brett Rippon doesn't move. Brett Rippon goes and lives in a hotel. He doesn't rent an apartment or anything. He just like, I'll go live in a hotel for a couple weeks.
Motel 6, baby. I'll be there.
And it's the same group of guys. It's always Tim Boyle, Brett Rippon, Trevor Siemian. It's
Never
like,
Colin Kaepernick. How dare these sons again? No RG3 either. Now that he's throwing his.
Oh my
The
god.
NFL is so racist, and they keep picking these tall white quarterbacks who suck instead of these quarterbacks that won Rookie of the Year and led their team to the NFC Championship, and it just makes me sick.
I don't think I should comment on this.
Yeah,
I really don't.
RG3 is always the first dude to be like, he'll tweet out, like, I'm taking my name out of the ring for the Cleveland quarterback job. It's like, did anyone ask you if you were going to be? When's the last time you played football?
It's like okay, that RG3 saying he's in line for every quarterback job is like Cam Newton saying he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Right?
I don't disagree. My question is, if you're an NFL GM and you're like, okay, Zach Wilson, we can't play him again this season. It's been bad.
No.
So let's go to Timmy Boyle. Okay, Tim Boyle sucks terribly, and we got to act like we still are trying to win games. Surely you just give somebody who's never played in the NFL, some college quarterback that was fine, a chance over just like, who we're going to go to? Brett Rippon.
That's what I was.
He's the guy. Like if anything, it just shows me like, okay, the Jets are officially in full tank mode. They're playing Brett Rippon at quarterback.
RG3 is not the answer though. That's not who I'm calling.
Honestly, I think I would rather call RG3 than Brett Rippon.
If you're a young quarterback, you must feel like a complete loser.
Yeah, okay, why? Could you not like, hey, can I go get me like the Sam Ellingers of the world?
Kelly, I mean, Chad Kelly's winning MVPs in Canada. He's at least worth a call.
Like somebody, like that. At least one. They're young, so if it does work out, if all of a sudden your version of Brett Rippon is somehow good, they're young and it like makes sense. You can keep them around for a while.
Yeah,
Brett Rippon is not gonna appreciate this slander.
Well, I mean, we've seen enough of Brett Rippon.
Hey,
in our days.
Brett Rippon, if you have a problem, come on down to Texas. And I would love to just watch. I would love to actually watch you play quarterback in person. Go to the local high school and throw some balls to receivers and show me if, like, is it really that impressive, or are you just tall and white and have the measurables and you have probably a really strong arm compared to normal people, and that's why you get what you get.
Also,
Look,
I don't think Brett Rippon.
I'm not liking the slander here.
I'll take Ryan Leaf.
What
Give me
slander?
Ryan Leaf. I'll take Ryan Leaf.
Brett
If
Rippon
you fit
is
the
going
mold, you fit the mold.
to pay for 4 weeks of work to the bank. He does not care.
Yeah. Brett Rippon's living the dream. He is living the absolute dream
He's
right
gonna
now.
retire with like $8 million in his bank account and just be like living.
Is Brett Rippon, do you think, one of those few people out there that roots for injuries every week?
Oh yeah.
He's just he's like, I
Yeah.
hope someone gets rolled up on this weekend.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yep.
I'm ready to go to Miami this week.
Yeah. Oh
When
yeah,
Tom
he's
Brady
just
was
sitting
playing-
there so bummed. He's like, "Gosh, Tua hasn't had a single concussion this year. This is BS. I can't take this."
Got that. He's got
Yeah.
jitsu.
When Tom Brady was playing, he was just hoping for an injury. He's like, I fit the mold. Get Tommy hurt. Get Tommy hurt. Hey.
All right. So besides all the fun things that we made fun of in that game, did anyone actually watch this game or care or whatever? It's one of those other just absolutely atrocious games. Desmond Ridder didn't screw it up.
I was watching it. Actually, Desmond Ridder, I believe it was the first offensive snap of the game. He fumbled, but he happened to recover this one. So
He does have a problem fumbling the football.
he does.
Arthur,
He didn't lose though.
Does Artie Smith keep his job after this year? Or Blake, what's the vibe in Atlanta?
Everyone in Atlanta hates him, but I like the guy.
I like him too.
I hope he keeps his job. I don't think you can fire like Atlanta. They're going to make the playoffs for one, so I don't think you can fire him. So they're going to make the playoffs. But also, I still think he's a decent coach. He just got caught up with this dumb quarterback that he can't somehow get past.
Well, my other question is, why does he not use Bijan more? That's my biggest
They're
problem.
starting
That's what I don't understand.
He
either.
doesn't care about your fantasy football team.
They're starting to use him a little more.
Yeah, but
Bijan
Bijan's better than a fantasy guy. He's a game changer.
I mean, last week he had great production.
Part of me thinks that Arthur was given like a certain amount of years that he was guaranteed, and he still hasn't hit that mark. And he was like, "Well, let's run out there." Unfortunately, his division's absolutely gosh awful. But he was like, "Let's run out there. We can lose some games, and then we get another good draft pick."
Well, maybe.
I mean, they gave Bijan 18 carries last
And he
week.
played this week. He did not play great, but he did.
No, I know, but before that, it's been like
Blake is right. They've been ramping him up. He also had the third most receptions.
Yeah, he's
wow.
recently he has been getting the ball.
However, they played a good Jets defense who stopped him.
What about Kyle Pitts? What's Kyle Pitts doing?
Kyle Pitts had the most catches this
Yeah,
week.
he's been
Oh wow.
forward.
Okay.
But
Now,
Kyle
when I say that, he had the most catches with 4.
yes.
Oh my gosh.
But Kyle Pitts has never been a Kyle Pitts problem. It's been a Desmond Ridder problem.
Yeah, the Atlanta Falcons had a total of 12 receptions.
Kyle Pitts will be running wide ass open down the middle of the field, and Desmond Ridder won't throw him.
I'm telling you, I've seen because I watch the freaking Falcons. It's the only team I can watch. He literally runs down the field wide open, and they do not.
Oh,
pass
who was
ball.
the was it Terry McLaurin this week? Who was just like, I got a lot of cardio in because they didn't throw him the ball once. He's just like, I got a lot of cardio. That's Kyle Pitts. He's just like, yeah,
Yeah,
man, I'm in such great shape. I run those routes so hard.
Every week.
Wasted a number 5 pick on him. Don't give him the ball.
Well, the problem is they just don't have a quarterback.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about a team that does have a quarterback. The Dallas Cowboys. They are flying right now.
Yeah.
Especially at home. Now, did their defense look really, 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 really bad? Yes.
Yeah.
However, their offense just can't be stopped at the moment.
Nah, their offense looks so good.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, yeah. Can I tell you? I really didn't even notice that he was doing that until y'all said it. Now I can't not hear it.
I can't stand that son of a bitch. I wanna pick him off from the high rises. Yeah, here we go. God's ears.
But I will say the Cowboys still scare me because when they get to the playoffs, they always do this. Then they get to the playoffs, and then Dak won't play that good, and then they lose because their defense can't stop nobody.
Also, they can't run the ball.
No, they cannot. Tony Pollard.
They have 0 run game.
Turns out Tony Pollard's a great second running back.
He is an amazing second running back. It also turns out CeeDee Lamb is a number 1 wide receiver, and it's really good when you throw him the ball more.
Yes, that's a fact.
They lost some games early in the year because they were just like, yeah, let's just give CD maybe 6 targets a game. And now they're just like, every other play, throw it to an 88 and see what happens.
And then Brandon Cooks is coming alive too.
Yeah.
Dude,
Gallup
Brandon
just is
Cooks-
terrible. Gallup is bad.
Yeah, but Brandon Cooks is gosh, I wish I had him on
Freaking
the
Ferguson. Ferguson is a monster.
Yeah, okay. That one play, I can't remember what it was, but he got the ball at the 10, and that dude was going to run over every single player he saw in his sight.
Yeah, Ferguson's a bit of a monster.
I like the Cowboys' offense. That defense is starting to scare me a little
But
bit.
are you going to end up with Dak Prescott in the regular season going, yeah, here we go, to Dak Prescott in the playoffs going, yeah, here we go.
The more scary part about is Deron Bland is turning into Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah.
Get you a pick 6, but he's also going to get burned deep a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
Deron Bland is sitting on his toes waiting for every short route. And
That first DK Metcalf touchdown, he
okay.
out so hard.
Yeah, honestly, the first one, the slant was bad, not just by Bland. It was also the safety.
Was
But-
it Doug Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, Donovan Wilson is also notorious for just running straight downhill.
Oh, yeah.
Donovan Wilson is just looking to kill somebody. He had so many targeting calls when he was at
in
A&M
college,
because he's just looking for head hunting.
Guaranteed targeting call in college.
DK Metcalf was booking it.
Yeah, that dude's so fast and so big.
22.5 miles an hour.
That's slow. You know how hard it is to keep my car from going 22 miles an hour? That's just me just taking my foot off the brake and it goes 22. However, when a human being does it, and he just looks fast because when he's running in a straight line, he just is so like intense and his arms are so like he doesn't run with any curve. Everything is just a straight 90-degree angle. And he
built
just,
like a shit brick house.
yeah, and the fact that he's that big, he should not be able to move that fast.
Nah, he's a beast. If he gets an open field, he's gone.
That was it. And I mean, what did he have? 3 touchdowns?
I believe he had 3, yes.
I think he had 2 touchdowns all season, and they had 3 in that one game against Deron Blaze.
Yeah, 2. I think 2 of them were like Deron trying to jump the route, trying to get a pick.
Yeah, but you know what? He still got a pick.
Yeah, he did.
And they won by 1 possession. So there it is. That's huge.
It worked. Their defense is not great.
It worked.
It's like Dan Quinn tells him, like, look, we can live with you giving up 3 touchdowns as long as you get an interception on one of them.
And Cowboy fans can rejoice because Micah Parsons got to do nothing all game and then come in and make the play on the final one because they intentionally didn't block him.
And he looked great on that one play.
He looked really great on that one play. Actually, I'm going to it right now. What were his stats for the game? Because it always just intrigues me. Don't get me wrong. Micah actually played really great that game. He, I think, had significant amount of QB pressures, which don't show up on the stat sheet. Micah Parsons had 2 tackles, and that's it.
That's not too pretty.
But he had 3 QB hits, which is good. Most on the team. He had Geno under pressure. But yeah, I don't understand how your intentional play design on the last or whatever, the most important play of the game is like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to not block their best player.
Yeah, it was a bizarre move because the whole I feel like they've gotten to the point where they double team Micah most of the time.
Yeah, or at least give him a chip. Like, come on, help your tackle out. But or let your tackle go one-on-one because they were running a quick throw anyway. But if you don't block him at all, Micah Parsons is also incredibly fast, and he won't let that route develop.
Yeah, very quick.
Pete Carroll's lost his fastball.
I wouldn't say that, but maybe he doesn't have a fastball, but he's got a pretty wicked slider probably at this point in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he scored what, like 35 points?
Yeah, it was 41-35.
Yeah, I mean, he had some stuff going on.
I just worry he's gonna have an aneurysm every week.
He is. I'm afraid his jaw is just gonna fall off. That guy chews more gum. I want to know how many pieces of gum does he go through, or is he just chewing on the same piece of rubber all day?
He chews it so hard.
Yeah,
And
he
it's
chews
that,
it.
it's that big league chew. It looks
How does his jaw not just like hurt?
Yeah, my jaw would be achy.
I guess years of practice. He's just he's built those muscles up.
That's why his jawline looks so good, I guess.
Maybe. All right, let's move it on to the game that I don't want to talk about, but we'll talk about it. The Chiefs lost to the Packers.
No, I want to talk about it.
All right. For those that are new listeners, I am not in my usual studio today where there's a giant Chiefs flag behind me because, yes, I am a Chiefs fan. And so sometimes I get a little on the homery side. So get at me with your comments. But I think I'm pretty rational about this one. And the first rational thing I will say is that the Packers definitely deserved to win that football game. They were the better team on the day. However,
the refs
they left the door open, and the refs had a terrible fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And before that, so the first one that I like to draw attention to, and we're going to draw attention to both sides, and everyone in this group chat that is on this podcast can attest that there was multiple times that I texted the group chat about bad calls against the Packers as well. I was like, that's because we love to just talk about how the refs are really bad in the NFL. That's just and college football. We like to talk about how the refs are bad in our little group chat, and I will very commonly just be like watching a game, and I will text the guys and be like, hey, did everyone see that call in blah 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 game? These refs suck. And so there was a lot of calls in the refs or in the Chiefs Packers game where I was like, that call sucked for the Packers. This call sucked for the Chiefs. Yada yada yada. The 4th and 2 early in the game where Jordan Love just threw up a prayer, and for some reason Chiefs defensive backs can't find the ball if it goes certain height. Same thing happened in the Super Bowl last year where Trent McDuffie couldn't find the Jalen Hurts amazing touchdown pass that was 5 yards underthrown, and the only McDuffie should have had an easy pick, but instead he couldn't find it and then tripped over himself, and AJ Brown caught it in the end zone. The same thing happened again. Jordan Love got under pressure and he just threw it straight up in the air, and Mike Edwards is right there, and then he turned the wrong direction out of nowhere for no reason, and then he couldn't find it, and I think it was Romeo Doubs caught the ball falling down, and it was like, oh, so amazing.
And that play deemed him Aaron Rodgers 2.0.
Yeah, and on that play, the reason why he's under pressure is because Mike Dana is going to sack him, and the left tackle's just got him grabbed by the face mask and like rips him down to the ground, and it was like, all right, there's no call. So that was terrible. That was terrible call number 1. Going through all the other ones, obviously, it was not a late hit out of bounds against Patrick Mahomes on that final drive. So Packers fans are like, okay, there's 15 yards. I would argue.
Did they call that a late hit?
They called it a late hit.
Yeah.
Very much not.
On that side, okay, so obviously it wasn't. I did hear a lot of people in the sports media out there saying that, and I will say Patrick Mahomes does do this. Patrick Mahomes a lot of times tiptoes near the sideline and draws people into that foul. Yeah. On this run, he is not tiptoeing. He is booking it to try to get that first down. Yeah. So the people out there, they were like, well, Patrick Mahomes did his thing again. Patrick Mahomes didn't ask for a call. He didn't do anything. He was just running for a first down. And also a thing that people do not mention, he got the first down.
Yep.
And he got out of bounds. So the Packers fans that are complaining about the fact that the clock should have been running on that play, you're wrong. He got out of bounds, and he was clearly moving forward. Yep. And also saying that it gave the Chiefs a first down. The Chiefs already had a first down. He made it past the sticks. But it's a terrible 15 yards, moves the ball from the 35-yard line to the 50. Fine.
He also didn't look around, and he didn't even look around for a flag, so it wasn't on him.
No, it wasn't on him. It happened, I think it was on the Chiefs sideline. Yeah. So probably a coach or somebody asked, but everyone's going to ask. If you touch the quarterback, someone on the sideline is going to ask for a foul. And it's a terrible call. If he didn't hit him so hard, I don't think it gets called. But clearly, he hit him hard, and then they were like, okay, this is Patrick Mahomes. We'll throw a flag, which is a bad call. Ref shouldn't do that. Is it the next play? Is the play that Isaiah Pacheco gets thrown out?
I believe
it's pretty close.
It's very shortly after that. Now, some might argue Isaiah Pacheco gets a 15-yard penalty on that play. So, boom, the 15 yards cancel each other out right away. Also, some might argue that Isaiah Pacheco doesn't get that foul if the refs rightly call it not a fumble from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because that all happens. Also, Keyshawn Nixon definitely is pushing his head into the dirt. But that's fine. That's football. I'll let it go. Isaiah Pacheco shouldn't throw a punch. Also bad. However, if the refs do their job and don't call a play that's clearly not a fumble, there's no 15-yard penalty. So then, boom, the two 15-yard penalties have now canceled each other out on the same drive. The play after that, they throw it deep for a 45-yard clear pass interference.
This is the most egregious.
And it's a bad call, whatever. The thing that bothers me the most is those people that are Packers fans, and also on First Take this morning and on the Pat McAfee show and all of these other shows saying, well, those bad calls cancel each other out. No, they do not, because one is a 15-yard penalty and one is a 45-yard penalty that puts the ball on the 5-yard line. There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference in those two fouls.
And it wasn't even close. Like, it's not even a
No.
close call.
There's a
he
certain
plugged
Packers
into
content
the-
creator that I like to follow who said that it's not a foul because MVS didn't fight for the ball. And I
Oh
was
my
like, and I said
jumped up for it.
he couldn't fight for the ball. There was a guy on his back. He literally couldn't fight for it. He got pushed to the ground.
The
Well,
thing that
that's
bothers me about that play the most is the fact that on those deep balls, I feel like there's at least – I know like refs are looking at different parts of the field. On those, there's got to be 3 dudes looking at it. And
No. There's an angle. There's a ref that's like 10 yards away that's just staring at it, and he's like, nope. We're just gonna.
That's what gets me. It's like, if it was a bang call, okay, well, we'll live with it. But that's not a bang call. That
No.
was one of the most egregious pass interferences, and it's a spot foul. It's like you can't. Yes, you've already said the Chiefs deserve to lose that game.
They deserve to
You
lose.
can't-
However,
can't
the
lose
Packers
like that.
left the door open, and if you put
Yeah.
that ball on the 5-yard line, then it's a very different.
Yeah.
We could be going to overtime.
Yeah, you
Sorry, we
can't-
missed one. We missed them saying that he got out of bounds and they stopped the clock on the MVS catch, which they probably should have ran it. However, this is why I love the internet. I got an actual famous person to tweet me back because I tweeted at him because he bet on the Packers. Hold on, let me pull up the exact tweet because it's fun times. And I'm talking about my boy Femi Abebefe,
Who is
the host of a very famous football podcast, to which he tweeted out his forward progress wasn't going out of bounds. What are we doing? To which I replied, pretty quiet about that PI call though. And he replied, one is subjective, the other is objective. And I strongly disagree with that because both of them are based off of what the ref thinks. The one where he's going out of bounds, the ref clearly thought that he was still fighting for forward progress, which he does do a good job of selling it because even though he's getting dragged backwards, MVS reaches the ball forward. So he's technically still fighting for yards. I still think it's a bad call. I think the clock is running.
That call is made differently every single time it happens too. So saying that's
correct.
And
it's subjective. It's not an objective thing.
No, it's not.
Or you can say that they're both objective because pass interference is definitely objective. If you get there before the ball gets there, it should be a penalty.
I mean, objective is like he got a first down. It's the clock stops.
Yeah.
So the problem is that pass interference wasn't even close. Like, it wasn't even a bang situation.
The problem is we live in a place where people can't take their bias out of a conversation. But I feel like, as I say that, I am at least halfway decent at it, and I can tell you all, like, as we've said. And just like we see these people, but the problem is these people are the people that are like the people that are being viewed by millions, and we're only being viewed by somewhere between 20 to 100 on a week-to-week basis, where you have these people on ESPN or the commentators up in the booth just being like, or, you know, the rules expert comes on and agrees with the ref just to say whatever. And it's like, that's just not what it, like, we just need sometimes for someone to come out and say, hey, they suck.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's about the refs or like we need just the people, hey, the Patriots suck. It's not bad to say that. The Patriots suck. It's fine. It's okay to say that that's a bad call.
I agree.
The rules experts are just there now to just reaffirm the league. It's like
Except for Gene. Except for Gene. I love Gene.
They don't serve any purpose. They're just like, oh, I see why they call this, that.
Yeah.
They never disagree. And then it's like, we're all looking at the ball on the ground. How do you also see the ball on the ground?
There's another podcast that says give Gene whatever money he wants to run the league in the refs. I agree. Give him whatever it takes to just take charge and run it.
And like the example that we'll talk about, and we've talked about it many times before, if you go back to the Super Bowl last year, was it a soft holding penalty? You betcha. Was it still a hold, though? And so I understand why a ref threw the flag.
Yes.
Yes.
But boy,
There's absolutely no reason why a ref shouldn't throw a flag on the MVS. He's on his back for over a second.
I mean, MVS had no chance to get the ball because the dude was
MVS had no chance to get the ball. And it's a well-thrown ball. Like, it's clearly catchable. It's not one
Oh,
of
yeah.
those where it's like it's going to hit him square in the lap. Now, I do like all of the things. See, I'm also a fan of all the funny things that are said on the internet. I love that the internet said, well, it's MVS late in the game, so it can't be a catchable ball anyway. That's just funny. That's a good joke right there.
I do think sometimes the refs think oh, that one's obvious. My buddy on the other side will throw his flag. And then that guy also thinks that his buddy on the other side is going to throw the flag. So none of them throw their flags. And instead of just throwing it about 2 seconds later, they all just sit on it. It's like, I don't want to call it late.
This
Well,
is
and-
why we need full-time refs.
I agree.
There were other incidents in other games. Shoot, I think it was the Eagles 49ers game. There was a call. It was not a great call, but it was a bang call. So I understand how the first ref who threw his flag threw the flag because they got different angles. And then you can see them conversing with each other when they make their little conference. And the ref that had the best angle is sitting there going, absolutely no way that this is a penalty.
Yeah.
Do not. And then they still called it. I'm like, the guy who had the best angle is sitting there like, no, this is a bad call. Like here's what I saw. And then they just go, no, we're still going to do the penalty. It's like, what are we doing? This makes no sense.
Look,
Can we use common sense referees, please?
Full-time refs.
this is I hate to say this because I don't want to believe this, but it's like the MVS play at the end of the game. Unless you have a betting interest in it, you quite literally can't sit there and tell me that that wasn't a pass interference. It is so obvious.
No, my thing is like we've talked about this. But there are certain sports, and I think the NFL is probably one of them as well, where we do the quote unquote we do a makeup call, right? So some might say, okay, the Patrick Mahomes penalty wasn't a penalty. Maybe we should have we should have ran the clock instead of stopping the clock on the MVS play. So we'll do a makeup call. There's a difference between a 45-yard penalty and a 15-yard penalty. Those are not makeup calls. That's like in hockey being like, okay, we had like a 2-minute tripping versus a 10-minute major. Those are very different incidents.
See, but the hockey refs understand that. That's the difference.
And they do it well. They call an equivalent penalty. That'd be like, okay, wait, I missed a holding. Okay, I'm gonna get the next team on probably a bogus holding on the next call. Like those are very equal to each other.
I don't see how there's even makeup calls to begin with, to be honest.
The NFL does such a crappy job of it. It's unreal. It is absolutely asinine.
Also, on this, while we're talking about refs being terrible, in the Eagles game, Lane Johnson does the exact same thing that Jawan Taylor does on every single play. You go watch the entire film from that. Lane Johnson does not once have any part of his body up to Jason Kelsey's hips, which is the rules that Jawan Taylor got called on. And he kicks his right leg early every play. But because he's a Hall of Famer, we can't call that penalty. If I was the Dallas Cowboys, I was talking about this with my sister this week. If I was Mike McCarthy, I'm going to the refs because the coaches do this every week. They find something to watch, and I would say I'd call Lane Johnson like you call Jawan Taylor every week. If I'm Mike McCarthy, that's what I'm doing.
Lane Johnson has some explanation. I don't understand how it's not false starts, but they have some explanation as to why it works. And I'm like, he's leaving early.
So Jawan Taylor does the exact same thing, but Jawan Taylor has like a little extra step in his like kick step, so it looks a little bit more awkward. Although I do think that Lane Johnson's kick step looks super strange. I don't know what it is. Is it because he's moving early? Probably. But he's also not lined up properly. He's also a half yard back further than he's supposed to. But they will never call him on it because he's Lane Johnson and he plays for the Eagles. And we all know that the Eagles get whatever the heck they want to when it comes to the referees, except for against is it Alex Kemple? Who was the ref for? It's Alex something with a K. Whoever was the ref this week, the Eagles always lose when he is their referee.
Well, see what happens in the playoffs.
That's true. I hope that they get him.
Just make them full-time refs. It's not a hard. It's really an easy solution.
Probably. And I did hear some talk this week that they're trying to push
Yeah,
something
I heard
closer to that. So that would be good. All right, let's get into our final games and then let's get out of here because it's late. Lots of other crappy football games to talk about this weekend, which, thank goodness for college football having at least a couple close games to watch because not all of the conference championships were good because the NFL slate had quite a few stinkers out there. Okay, the Thursday night football game was great. The America's game of the week was great. Monday night football was good. Sunday night football was even a close game, but it was a crappy game in my opinion. But the noon slate and then the other games during the 3:30 slate were terrible. All right, speaking of terrible, Cardinals played the Steelers.
Steelers are dead.
What did we say last week we said last week, everyone's raving about how, they got 400 yards without Matt Canada, but they couldn't score points, and now they lose to the Cardinals because they still can't score points. I don't care about your yards. I care about the points that you score, and they can't score.
No, yeah, they're dead.
Cardinals look kind of good with Kyler Murray, though. Not good. They look more average.
I think what's his face? Gannon might be a decent coach.
He's got the boys playing for him at least still. I'll say that.
The problem with the Steelers is like it's worse than the old school Cowboys saying, but it's like they always said the Cowboys could win games and then they get into the red zone, you can't score. And the Steelers are that times probably 20. I mean, it's terrible. They
still gonna win 9 games though.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Shit, yeah.
Mike Tomlin will get to 9 wins. It will happen.
I would cut off my left leg for Mike Tomlin. I mean, he's amazing somehow.
All right, that's enough on that game. The Dolphins beat the Commanders. Dolphins now the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Oh, Mike McDaniel.
Okay. I mean, we all knew that this was going to be a slaughter. The Commanders have given up like 35 points like 6 weeks in a row, and then they're playing the Dolphins.
Football team.
The Commanders?
Yeah. I'm just hyping up McDaniel.
No, I'm talking about the Commanders, not the Dolphins.
Ron Rivera is a sitting duck. He's toast. See,
yeah.
He thinks his job is secure, which is the goofiest part of it all.
The kiss of death. Whenever they say that, he gone. See ya.
I think he knows that it's secured till the end of the season.
Yeah, he gone.
Well, I mean, shit.
All right. Tyreek Hill is really good.
You think they would maybe guard him every once in a while?
I mean, they just put him on man coverage just like the whole game.
Do you have 2 deep
Can't
ones?
believe it. Yeah.
Ron Rivera.
Tyreek Hill is my MVP, in my opinion. I think he's the MVP of the league.
Yeah, I don't see how you don't vote him MVP.
He is the only player that every week the other team is having the same reaction that Michigan has when they play Alabama.
Yep.
They're just like, oh my gosh, it's Tyreek week. We're screwed.
And you see a ball on TV when you're watching. Obviously, you can't see the receiver deep. You just see a ball go straight in the air, and you just assume Tyreek's running free.
I mean, how? I don't get it. Like, is there really that big of a difference between like a 4.2 and a 4.3, 4.4 40? Because he's got like 10 yards on people.
That's what I understand is like whenever I see like 40 times, I'm like, all right, if you're running a 4.2 or a 4.45, is a quarter of a second that big of a deal? But apparently it is.
No, so okay, I will say this: Tyreek's superpower is not his straight line speed. It's not his straight line speed. He can cut, which is why Tyreek, you look at back in the day of like Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson was probably equally fast. However, he could only run in a straight line. That's all he could do. Tyreek can run all of these other routes because he can stop on a dime.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Dude is a weapon.
And then Jalen Waddle also very, very good and also very, very fast. Barrios is also really fast. I mean, their team is
A-Chain.
The Dolphins have the fastest team in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
What is it? A-Chan?
A-Chan.
And Raheem Mostert. I mean, they're all.
Raheem Mostert, their defense is starting to come together.
Dude, they're so.
I mean,
they're,
Christian Wilkins is a monster on the inside. He's so fun to watch. Jalen Ramsey can suck an egg for all I care about, but
I don't think they do anything in the playoffs, but they're fun to watch in the regular season.
I don't know if all those teams got to go play down in Miami in the winter when it's nice and warm and humid.
Do we okay? Before we get past this, do we actually buy into that? Because most of these guys are from the South.
It's just what your body is used to, though. If you've been up in the cold for months and then all of a sudden now it's 80 degrees and humid, like that's a big difference.
I think it works worse the other way around.
I agree. Right, because think about every year as people who live in Texas or not Alabama, sorry, Georgia, where it's usually pretty hot. But then that first weekend that the cold front comes around, usually the cold front isn't like, ooh, it's like now in the 80s. No, it's like usually like now it's in the 40s when it was in the hundreds the day before. And it's like that's that cold, that temperature change, you feel it.
Whoops your butt.
Yeah. So I think it is a big deal, especially like I think, yeah, like we said, going the other way, like, right, typically if Miami is going to go up to Buffalo late in the season, I guarantee you there is a trend that they lose the majority of those games because they're going from nice warm to negative 12 degrees with people throwing dildos at them and snowballs.
I saw some Eagles fans getting pelted by snowballs or some 49ers.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Snowballs.
All right, let's keep it going. The Texans beat the Broncos. Thank you, Texans, as the Chiefs also lost, and I can't have the Broncos win our division. I don't know what to say about this game. It was fine. It was good. It was a good game. It was close pretty much the whole time.
Sean Payton's figuring it out somehow.
I mean, the Broncos defense looks pretty good. The Texans defense, looks very good.
I feel like Russell Wilson had like 20 yards passing the first half.
I mean, he did throw 3 picks. Or had 3 turnovers. One, I don't. He threw 3. I mean, sorry. The last one, it's the end of the game. You got to force it. You throw a pick, whatever.
Yeah, I'm okay with that one.
But the other ones weren't great. Derek Stingley looks pretty good. I didn't feel like he was that great originally, but he's looking a lot better. I think he has 4 picks in his last 3 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not a bad stat at all.
Nope. All right, let's talk about other terrible teams. The Bucks beat the Panthers.
Dead.
Okay, I will say this though: Mike Evans is a first ballot Hall of Famer. We're an Aggie podcast. Let's talk about how good Mike Evans is. I mean,
give him his gold jacket.
Besides that, can we talk about how Mike Evans is better than Devontae Adams? No one ever talks about it.
Is.
His stats are better than Devontae Adams every year for his entire career.
People don't talk about Mike Evans enough, truthfully.
Mike Evans doesn't get enough credit.
They don't give him the credit he deserves.
He's a good deep threat. He's good short route. He's great in the red zone. I mean, what else do you want from a guy?
He's on a shitty team. That's the only problem.
Also, he's got brand loyalty. He stayed with the same team his entire career.
Yeah, he will drop a helm one every once in a while, but
no, I mean, yeah, but I mean,
they all do.
Everything. You're not perfect.
Give him his gold jacket.
Shoot, why was it? Did any? I don't know. No other head coaches got fired this week, right?
No.
Okay, that's what I was like. Okay, we already talked about all those. All right, let's keep it moving. The Rams beat the Browns. No, yes, the Rams beat the Browns. Rams beat the Browns. We got. There's only one place to start. I know they lost, but Joe Flacco was flinging that thing. I love seeing Joe Flacco back in the league. Let's go. 41-year-old Joe Flacco is just crushing it.
Man, I didn't realize how bad they got beat.
He's been.
It was really, really close, and then it got ugly in the 4th.
Joe's been waiting for this too.
It was a 1-score game until I feel like there was like 8 minutes left.
Okay, you're right. 3 minutes left, or actually with 2 minutes left, it was still 1-score game.
Yeah, the game is closer than it looked, but yes, it got ugly at the end. So yeah, Joe Flacco, 41 years old, hasn't played in forever, throws for 250 and 2 touchdowns. That's pretty good.
Yep, pretty
The
good.
Browns being
But
5 was one of the more shocking things to me.
the Browns are really, really bad on the road, but they win at home. They're like the Titans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have no offense. I mean, they haven't had a quarterback all year.
Yeah. They had that one game where Deshaun Watson played good, and then the rest of the year they haven't had a quarterback. Their defense, like if you look at the stats, their defense when they are playing in Cleveland is like the second best defense in the league, and then when they're playing on the road, they're like the 19th best defense in the league. So it's like that's a big deal for them. They need to be playing in Cleveland, which I do believe they are playing in Cleveland this week. The Rams are kind of showing that, like, yeah, they're obviously not as good as when they were winning the Super Bowl a couple years ago. But when Matt Stafford is actually playing, the Rams are still a really freaking good football team.
They're pretty good. Yep.
Their offense is fun to watch.
Matt Stafford's a good quarterback.
He's a very good quarterback. I wish he didn't waste his entire career in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too.
Hey, he tried. He tried to be loyal.
All right, finally, we mentioned it earlier. Last game of the day. The Bengals beat the Jags in a very big surprise in Jacksonville.
I'm happy for a guy like Jake Browning. Like, it seems like ages ago he was playing in the college football playoff.
How long? What was that? I mean, for real, that was
2015 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Also,
I didn't even know he still played football, to be honest with you. I literally had no clue.
see, this is what I'm talking about. All of these teams take a shot on a guy like Jake Browning, where it's like, all right, hey, he was pretty decent in college. We know what we're gonna get with Brett Rippon, and it can't be worse. So let's get someone else in here and see if it's that bad. And guess what? I bet next week Jake Browning sucks. I bet he's terrible.
Hey, Zach Taylor was trying to kill that dude. Like, literally, they were moving the ball so well with him throwing, like, down the field. Then it turned into screen pass, wide receiver pass directly to a defender. It was like, dude, let him throw the ball. He's throwing the ball just fine.
So I think that, I hate to say it, I think the Bengals can still make the playoffs because it doesn't really matter who you have at quarterback. If the receivers are as open as their receivers can get, like anyone can make those throws, right? Jordan Love, you watched him on Sunday Night Football. When he had time to throw, the guys were so wide open. Yeah, Jordan Love can make those throws. He's a decent quarterback. And now I'm not saying that Jake Browning is as good as Jordan Love. Jordan Love is much better than he is. But, I mean, even if he's not that open, if Jamar Chase is one-on-one, just throw it up. I bet he catches a couple of them.
No, but and like Blake said, as long as freaking Zach Taylor doesn't call a freaking wide receiver
pass. I mean,
that was the worst play call I've seen all year. Probably that was terrible.
Not only the worst play call, it was the worst play I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was terrible.
T. Higgins just throws it directly to the dude.
Yeah.
Do you not remember the snap to freaking the Colts versus the Patriots? That's the worst football play in the history of ever.
Wow,
Butt fumble is a close second. I love the butt fumble.
That is a great play. The butt fumble.
Oof. Jacoby Myers last year throwing it to the Patriots. No, sorry, Jacoby Myers throwing it to the Raiders. Now he plays for the. Yeah. All right. That's it. That's all the games. Let's talk about gambling so we can go to sleep. We're still in a nice close competition. And we unfortunately are now pretty much out of college football to gamble on. So that's sad. We'll get to bowl season though eventually, and then that'll be fun. There we go. I'm winning, so I'll go first. I'm taking the Bills plus 2.5 in Kansas City this weekend because I don't think that we can stop their offense. The Bills have looked better as of late. I'm also taking the Ravens -7. Their defense is good. They're off a bye week as well. Give them an advantage. And I'll take Green Bay -6.5 because for some reason that line didn't change against the Giants after they beat the Chiefs, which doesn't make sense to me. So I think that they can beat the Tommy. And they announced today that Tommy DeVito will be playing quarterback again. So I'm a little bit nervous because he is on a 2-game win streak, but I think that the Packers can beat the Giants by more than 6.5 points. And if they can't, I'm very depressed about the Chiefs that we lost by 8 points.
Tommy DeVito.
I'm taking Houston minus 5.5 over the Jets. Detroit minus 3 over Chicago, which seems like a rat line. And Baltimore minus 7 over LA. System play.
Then I will take Houston minus 5.5 against the Jets. I will also take the Lions minus 3 against the Bears.
The twin brains were connected very well this week.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna take the Broncos plus 3 against the Chargers.
I will take Army plus 2.5.
Minus 2.5.
Minus
Minus 2.5.
Minus 2.5. Minus 2.5.
I was like, whoa, I'm not spotting you. That's a big swing there.
Minus 2.5. Minus 2.5. Go Army. I will take the Detroit Lions minus 3.
Nearly a
And I
team.
will take the Kansas City Chiefs minus 2.5.
I think the Bears are that bad, but I've seen the Lions not be able to tackle Justin Fields for too many games in a row to bet that game. But you know what? I'm sorry for ruining the team ride. All right, that's going to do it for us in this episode of the Football is King podcast. We once again thank you for all the support, everybody. It's great. We love doing this. We just love talking ball.
Yeah.
All kinds of football. We love talking about it, and y'all give us a platform to do that. So we appreciate it. And we will see you next week to talk about another great. Hopefully, this week we're gonna have better games to talk about. Because it was well fun. All NFL next week. We probably will take a couple weeks off of college football podcasts until we get some good bowl games going because there's really nothing to talk about unless there's any breaking news that comes out of that. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Dude, what? It's literally not stopping the recording. This is hilarious. All right, and we will see you next time.